Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Just want to do a quick tabletop talk and review kind of on this Mac Defense that has some custom work done to it. And this is not mine. I borrowed it from a friend and he wanted me to change the trigger and do some polishing and trigger job and also fit this extended slide release from Triarch. And we're going to just go over it a little bit and talk about it. And I'm going to show some footage. And guys, I will say this thing is pretty awesome, you know, as far as its shooting characteristics for the price. I think that something like this with everything on it can be had for under, say, $1,400 with everything done to it, the porting, the trigger, the extended slide release. And you would have to add a little bit more money for the red dot based off what you get. But yeah, I'm not counting that. But yeah, for under $1,600, you could have a setup like this that's going to shoot as flat as anything out there. And it's just going to run real reliably and smooth. And yeah, it did need quite a bit of tuning done to it. I'll tell you kind of what I did. We will safety check it, even though it's been safety checked. We'll tell you some things that I did real quick to the gun. He had it, well, let me tell you what he did first. He already had it Cerakoted and these ports done first, and that's one reason why he Cerakoted it, to line up these, to get this metal that had been cut off colored, and so it would be protected from rust. So he had it Cerakoted, a bronze, with the magwell and the grip safety. So that was done by him. And so these three large ports you see up top are really nice. They do a really good job of keeping the gun extremely flat and just make it a lot smoother gun overall. But when I got the gun, you know, it had the ports, it had the Cerakote, but the gun was really rough. It was catching on the disconnector when you pulled it back. The Cerakote seemed like it was kind of rubbing against the rails, and it was just a little bit gritty when you pulled it back. So I wanted to take care of that. I took a stone and several other things and kind of polished the rails a little bit on the inside of the Cerakote, so the Cerakote, where it was uneven, would kind of wear a little bit flatter and more consistent and have a smoother pull. And so that's a whole lot smoother now. It does not catch on the disconnector anymore. We did several things there. I don't want to share all that, but yeah, we did several things to the disconnector and polished the disconnector and the sear parts, and we also changed the trigger out for a red dirt trigger. It had the Mac Defense trigger. The trigger pull was right at 6 pounds, and now it's coming in under 3 pounds on average. If you pull it now, it's right under 3 pounds. Excellent trigger now because the sears and all the engagement parts have been polished, oiled, cleaned, and just refined and tuned better. So now we got about a 2 pound 14-ounce trigger. So it's just a lot better than it was. I will include some shooting footage. We did several other things as well. The mag release was real stiff, so we actually softened that up a little bit, went in there and softened it up doing certain things. We tuned the trigger for over travel and pre-travel, so that's set up. We fitted the slide release. This Triarch slide release is really nice. The only negative I would say about it, if you're looking into one, there were several places on it where it looks like it's just not finished quite as well. Like the finish is a little inconsistent. It's not bad. If you're just wanting a performance gun, it works fine. But you would think a slide release as expensive as this would have a little bit better finish. But the design of it and the way it's made and the way it fit in and the way it looks in the design for performance-minded, I guess what it's built for, it's very nice. But yeah, the finish is the only thing I would complain about. That it was pretty easy to fit. There was not much to fit. The only part I had to fit was kind of where it fit into that groove. It wasn't going quite high enough, so I had to do some filing and sanding to get that to fit a little bit better. But yeah, now it works perfectly. See this trigger? Look at this pre-travel. That's the pre-travel. Not even 1/2 millimeter. I mean, you just barely move the trigger, breaks. That's the over travel. You saw the over travel there. That's the pre-travel. That's all it travels over. You always want a little bit of extra over travel because you don't want it so tight that it's actually going to jam up the trigger and keep the trigger from breaking if you pulled from certain areas. So you always want to have a little bit, just a little bit of pre-travel at least, because it makes the gun run more reliable. And you want to have that little bit of over travel. Here's the reset. That's it. It's right on the wall. Beautiful trigger, like I said, under 3 pounds, average pulls. This has the Swamp Fox Justice 2 on there. He did that already. But yeah, we just took a gun that looked good and did all the tuning to make it perform based off what it looked like it would. So we also redid the recoil spring. It now has about a 10 pound recoil spring, and it has a 17 pound hammer spring. I like to vary my hammer springs between 17 and 20 pounds for 9mm. It just depends on kind of what the gun is. I don't like going to a 17 pound unless you have ports, because I want the slide to run easier. When you have more ports like this, it just seems to run a little smoother and better without too heavy of a hammer spring. So I don't mind doing a 17 if it's ported. If it's not ported, I'd prefer to probably run around a 19 or 20 pound spring on a hammer spring. I don't like to go lighter than 17, and I don't really like to go heavier than 20 pounds, because heavier than 20 pounds on the hammer spring makes the trigger a little bit too stiff and feels like that wall is a little bit too hard. But yeah, 20 pounds is plenty good enough, and 17 pounds works pretty good for configurations like this. The recoil spring is perfect. There's no, when I pull this slide back now, it's just smooth. There's no hang-ups, there's no stoppages, it just runs smooth. But anyway, if you have any questions, comments, this gun's awesome. If you want a gun to upgrade, I was telling him, my friend, the only thing I would probably do different with this gun now that it is the way it is stipple it myself. I'd probably do my stipple job. But the gun runs so flat and smooth and soft that really, even with this texture that I don't really like and it's not very grippy, you know, the thing hardly moves in your hand because of just the nature of the gun and how it's tuned so well with the ports and everything, that you don't really need an aggressive stipple. So this one runs great the way it is, and we're going to give this back to him tomorrow. I got to enjoy it a little bit, and I love the way it shoots. I told him I'm a little bit jealous. I kind of want one now. I have more expensive guns, and I kind of, as far as the way this is tuned and the way it's running right now, and I'm probably a little harder on my guns, I guess, as far as expectations, but I really like the way this thing's running right now. So it's just really fun and smooth to shoot, and it shoots really good, stays really flat. Have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Please like and subscribe and support the channel. Tell your friends about the channel. Get them to subscribe as well. God bless. Have a great day. Please leave comments below.